Okay, it's July, I don't know, Friday the 26th, is that what today was? But anyway, we're gonna do a well, almost mid to end summer garden review. And what you'll find is a mix. Just a quick overview, a mix of fruits and veggies. Some things I planted a long time ago, like right in the third week of May. Other things I waited and planted just about a month ago. So I have not planted like my fall planting yet, and there's a lot of volunteers like these tomatoes and other things that were planted late, so hopefully we'll get a late September harvest. So let's go. We got room to plant here, that's weeded. Got several small tomatoes there. Got some dead grass. I like to use dead grass as mulch. It's free. Got some bush. Apparently there's a 60-day maturity, so that should be ready. That's bush butternut squash. We got a strawberry patch to fill in with runners. Starting to fill in the gaps, which is good. Just got to keep it weeded and watered. There's our wall of cucumbers. Now let's keep going this way. Honeycrisp apple tree. Oh, looks like we dropped a tomatillo on the ground. I'll have to grab that. A couple ground cherries that are still small. There's another view of our zucchini wall. These are the first zucchini I planted. They're getting a little tired. I do have some fall zucchini planted and growing. Some cabbage. I had a huge chard plant, and I pulled it up and it left a whole bunch of seeds. And also there were some plants that had started growing underneath it. A couple zucchini. Tried for the first time this year growing peanuts. I don't exactly know what we're doing. We'll see how that works. 2-year-old kale plant. No, that's 1-year-old, but it's started growing like over the winter or spring. There's a couple of my newer cucumbers. And we got, okay, let's train it up. First year I've tried trellising, at least arch trellis. I've grown things up before, but never really an arch like that. And we've got some cucumbers here. A couple zucchini, I think. Italian zucchini. I think that one might be a cushaw, I don't know. But we've got maybe a pumpkin. What's going on here? I don't like the looks of that thing. Yikes. Oh, we got a broken, whoops. We have to take, yikes, what happened to you, man? What happened to you? A couple zucchini, borage, bok choy maybe, and a bunch of tiny. I had a kale plant go to seed and it dropped seeds all over. A bunch of tiny kale plants. I could transplant those. My beans, several growing up over the arch. Those are the Cherokee Trail Tears beans, I believe. Bush beans, peppers, okra. There's a good shot of that, what a grown borage plant looks like. And there's lots, you stand here, you'll see lots and lots of bees coming in and out. Peppers, okra, there's some eggplant. Rogue tomato. I should weed this. Man, there's so many. If I weeded it, I got hundreds of runners coming out. You'll see what I do. See? I've got this long pot here, and I put runners. I let the runners go into it. And then next year I'll have a full tray of strawberries. I should put one there. I put one here just about a week and a half ago. You can see the difference. And that line over there, I pulled those out of that red pot. That was a line of strawberries from last year that I started. So I'll have another one over there, and I should put a couple of pots around. But anyway, got some tomatoes coming in. Nothing spectacular there. I do have, I think, look at the size of it. I don't know if that's a Mennonite. It's going to be a big one. More beans. Oh, that's the nicest basil plant I've ever had, I think. This Jolly just trimmed it up a little bit, so planted a rosemary. We'll see how that does. Got some tomatillos. I know I have at least one. Yeah, I'll go over that later. These are purple tomatillos. Purple tomatillo. Here's the front view of the peppers and eggplants. Here's some volunteer peppers I planted. Typically when I find volunteers, I like to move them to I don't let them grow where they are most of the time, unless it's in a spot that'll be good for them. Here I had a couple gaps anyway, so I moved some of the volunteers in there. These were volunteers as well, I believe. Finally starting to get some eggplant coming in. I believe these are the Chinese string eggplant. We'll go over here first. My favorite cherry tomato. Oh, a couple kind of, not really volunteer eggplant over there. These are my favorite sun gold cherry tomatoes. They're delicious. I'm making a video for my YouTube. More bush butternut. Another trellis I've got going. Stay back carefully, huh? Mosquitoes are getting bad. That might be a pumpkin. I got some more cucumbers. Here we've got, I believe this is one of Jolly's friends' plants. And this is growing nicely up. I do have to train. I am going to have to train that one to get it back in line. What I do is I just tie, just a minute. I just get little strings. There's one. I'll find a better example. But that's starting to come together. And then I had a volunteer. That was from my compost. I don't know what that is to the left of the sunflower. We'll see what that turned out to be. Oh, look, there's a grasshopper on my pumpkin. On my cheese. First year I tried Long Island cheese pumpkin. First time I tried cheese pumpkin. Doesn't taste like cheese, but it's shaped like cheese. And it seems to be growing well. Fairly resistant to the bugs. That was my French pumpkin, and that was not resistant to bugs.
Rui's sleeping now.
Okay, good. I don't want to stop talking, so I want to keep this concise to the point. We can talk about Rui later. Oh, now that thing, I'll put my hand up there for reference. That's a huge, I don't know how much it weighs.
Whoa.
Probably weigh 10, 15 pounds, and there's a bigger one out there. Yeah. Got some little cute butternut squash coming in. So here's a shot of that trellis. This was my original squash patch. So it's growing up really well, lots of mature fruits. That's done really well. That's why it looks so much different from the other ones, because those are about a month later. Actually, this side was done, and then a couple weeks later, this side. Butternut bush. One of Jolly's friends' plants. We'll say, I don't even know what some of those are really. Here's where we put a whole bunch of our extra tomato plants that and we're gonna let these go bush style, I think. We were too lazy putting up a structure. We didn't really have a whole lot of materials, unless we wanted to do them individually, which I've done, but we got so many tomatoes already, we're just gonna let those go bush. Need to clean out this. We need to weed here. This Strawberries, I don't know. I'm going to say they're probably about 80% done. The early bushes are done and the mid bushes are pretty done, but like this late bush still has some good, still has lots of pink and white ones, so that's still going to have a harvest. Baby borage. Oh, there's one of my nasturtiums. Butternut squash here. Oh, there's one growing. Gotta try and get that trained up over there. I can't remember what that is. I think a butternut. But I want to try and get it on the outside, see? So anytime I see them coming through to the inside, I try and get them to go back outside. Oh, and there's... I just used this jute twine, I think. Oh, I gotta take that cage. Looks like that one's ready to be unleashed. Oh. So, oh, and this is what, I don't know what first it kind of looks like a butternut squash, but it isn't. That's from Jolly's friend. We'll see how big. Some of the ones I saw at their house last year were huge. Butternut squash, zucchino rampicante, butternut squash, and then I tried grapes first time this year. I got these 2 sticks in the mail. There's a stick, you can see it. I planted it, and that's all it was, just that little stick. And then a few months later, you see how much growth we've put on. I gotta do some work to get them where they're supposed to be, but they're growing well anyway. And then back there, they accidentally sent me a kiwi. Oh, that's grown. Oh, that's snaking right up there. I gotta take care of that. I don't really know what to do with kiwi, but we'll figure it out. Some nice, pretty. I always like trying different varieties of sunflower. And then this. Now my reach is probably 8'6". I don't know. And that's probably a good 3 feet higher. That's probably nearing a 12-foot sunflower right there. I believe these two, and this one's a little shorter, maybe 11. Those are the Mongolian giants. Those have the big seeds that people eat. So we'll see how big the heads get. So again, this is one of my newer squash patches. You see everything's pretty small. The plants anyway. Part of it was I had to wait a while to get my trellis. Also, I like to practice a little succession planting. And then we'll come back up. That's about it. Old squash patch, newer squash patch, newer squash patch. I planted those sunflowers. That one's a volunteer. I planted that one. That one's pretty decent size too. It's not as tall as the other one, but this one's got like a tree trunk on it. More okra. We got a bunch of beans there that are getting taken over by. Oh, yeah, we might get some beans. I planted some. I'm getting good results from my long. It's called a long pie pumpkin, like a cross between a butternut squash and a pie pumpkin. Here's a good shot of one of the cheese pumpkins. And oh, there's one thing I wanted to see if I could get, but I don't know if I can. Yeah, I might be able to get in there. Let me see if I can get in there without trampling over everything. You gotta know your roots in and out of your routes, I should say, in and out of your patch. Which I believe I have one right here. That's pretty safe. Because there's something I want to get a closer look at. I always like to check. Yeah, look at that. We've got a huge zucchino rampicante. That thing's got to be 3 foot long. And that might be one of my French pumpkins. I don't know, might be. And then here's a good shot of the pie pumpkin, or the long pie pumpkin, I should say, what those look like. All right, goji berry planted this year. Got a little eggplant tucked up in there. These are too huge, out of control. Cherry tomatoes, sungo. I used to get all fancy. I'd do single stem and I would prune them really well. But it's a lot of work, a lot of time and a lot of work. And I don't know, the payoff seems minimal. If you got enough land and you plant enough plants, I figure you just don't have to worry about pruning those tomatoes. You're gonna get good, you're gonna get plenty to eat. It's all about the cost benefit, you know. Also, anyway, so my vertical gardening is partly with the hopes of seeing those huge zucchinis and huge pumpkins. Well, not huge, or huge whatever I get hanging down. I don't know how great it'll be hanging right from the top maybe, but those 3 foot long zucchinos, if they grow from the top, they supposedly they grow straight instead of curly. So that's an experiment. So first time this year for the arch trellis, for the Long Island cheese pumpkin, for the green stripe cushaw, that Mongolian sunflower, those Chinese okra, the red ones. Goji berries are new this year. I've got a fig tree, new, right back there. And then I planted 2 Chinese chestnut trees this year, and they're in the back by the pine trees. As they grow, I'm going to cut some of those pine trees out. My apple trees, peach trees, pear trees, cherry trees. Been a good year so far. So we'll get another update maybe in a month. Especially with the trellises. I want to see what those turn into.